Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, an action-adventure game with role-playing and stealth elements, or to call a spade a shovel, a third-person shooter and driving game, was released on the 26th of October 2004 on the PS2. Developed by Rockstar North and published by parent company Rockstar Games, it fast became 2004's best-selling video game. In fact, it still remains the best-selling PlayStation 2 game of all time. Inevitably, due to its popularity, an Xbox and Windows release followed on June 7th, 2005. Set in 1992 in the fictional city of San Andreas, the game is made up of three fictional locations: Los Santos, based on real-life Los Angeles, San Fierro, based on real-life San Francisco, and last but not least, Las Venturas, based on real-life Las Vegas. At the time, the game just felt so real, so true. It was raw, and it was edgy. And to be fair, it should have been, as it dealt with several controversial topics head-on. Bloods and Crips, crack epidemics, the LA riots, and the LAPD Rampart scandal. The plot was based on all of them. So it was authentic. Possibly a little too much though for some people's likings. A game that pretty much revolves around drugs, destruction and theft, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was already in the public eye. Simply by just releasing it, Rockstar had ruffled some feathers. In mid-June of 2005, 38-year-old modder Patrick Wildenberg, going by the internet screen name of Patrick W, released a software patch of the game called Hot Coffee Mod that would alter people's perceptions of the game even more. You see, during the game's development, Rockstar had toyed with and experimented with the idea of pushing the boundaries even further. They had the idea of including a sex minigame that allowed you to have intercourse with your in-game girlfriends. Predictably, the decision was made to not include the minigame for San Andreas' release. Instead, you would simply take your in-game girlfriend to her front door, and she would coyly ask you if you'd like to come in for some coffee. You agree, and as your character goes inside, our view is restricted to an outside view, swaying back and forth, while moaning is heard. Controversy avoided? Well, not really. The sex minigame might not have been included within the full release of the game, but the assets or code for it were. Upon the release of the PC version, Wildenberg and others found the minigame's code and set about making it playable once more. With the patch installed, players could now push up and down for rhythm, left shift to change positions, left mouse to change the camera view, or return to quit, as a fully clothed Carl Johnson has sex with his girlfriend, in what can ultimately only be described as an unerotic sex minigame. If the censorship activists and lobbyists were incensed before, now they were enraged and went in for the kill. Then attorney and campaigner against obscenity and violence in media, Jack Thompson, and UN Senator Hillary Clinton waded into war with Rockstar. The shocking revelation sent the US media into an absolute feeding frenzy. Many high-profile celebrities and politicians campaigned for the game to be removed from stores, and on the 20th of July 2005, the ERSB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board, changed the rating of the game from mature to adults only. Rockstar had no choice. The game would be recalled and they would cease creation until the offensive minigames code was removed. This was only half true, as they did just that, but they also cheekily offered to give retailers the option of just applying an AO, adults only sticker, to the original game. Some stores, due to their own strict policies, had no choice but to remove the game completely, as they didn't want to be associated with an adult-only content game at all. In August, Rockstar would release an official cold coffee patch for the PC version, and also re-release the game with all of the hot coffee code, scenes and content fully removed, now known as San Andreas 2.0. The game's rating would return to mature and, more importantly, once again be sold in stores nationwide. Now they just needed to settle the litigation brought against them, and on November 8, 2007 announced a proposed settlement of a $35 cash payment upon signing of a sworn statement, and the ability to swap an adult-only rated copy of the game for an M-rated one. It's reported a total of 2,676 claims for compensation were received. It would be easy to think that Rockstar might feel beaten down after this, but they didn't do too badly from it at all. In the end, the controversy just increased the game's appeal. In fact, the studio would move on to follow San Andreas with hit after hit in the Grand Theft Auto series. Jack Thompson, Rockstar's then nemesis, would actually go on to become well known for his unusual court filings to the Floridian bar, and in July 2008 was even permanently disbarred for inappropriate conduct, including making false statements to tribunals and disparaging and humiliating litigants. Hillary, as we all know, would eventually go on to run for president, but not before Rockstar had some fun at her expense. In 2008, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto 4. Set in a redesigned version of Liberty City, it consists of 4 boroughs clearly based on those of New York, and even has its own Statue of Happiness. This is described in GTA 4's manual as a gift from the French at the end of the 19th century. This iconic landmark evokes a bittersweet mix of patriotism and xenophobia. Iconic indeed. Rockstar went out of their way to mock Clinton by replacing the face, complete with eye bags, in her likeness. It's uncanny, but even if you doubted it, the statue's famous torch was replaced by, you guessed it, a cup of hot coffee.